Welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. Gigantic news regarding Meta's next VR headset, the Cambria. The V39 update is here for Quest 2, along with a leaked accessory within code that has me really excited for wireless VR. We may just have a brand new VR headset releasing soon to go head-to-head with the Quest 2. And is Apple finally stepping into the VR ring? That and so much more. Let's just get right into the news. Let's start this one off with something that honestly kind of shocked me. Every year, Facebook, now Meta, holds a conference called F8, and in the past, we've even gotten VR announcements at the event, like the original Quest and Rift S. This year, however, Meta has canceled their F8 developer conference, instead focusing to, quote, build the metaverse, end quote. I guess Connect 2022 and Connect in general is Meta's main virtual conference now. And I say I was shocked because I sort of fully expected Meta's next headset, the codename Cambria, to be properly revealed at F8. But looks like that's been postponed, even though plenty of outlets state that the Cambria has entered full production recently. And there's actually a lot of really exciting news regarding the Cambria this week. And hold up, just real quick, I want to say whatever this new headset is, and whenever it's coming, it's looking really good. Like, actually, this may be my next headset to replace my Index if it can get enough right, or more like, if all of the information that we have is right. Needless to say, I'm getting pretty pumped about it, and here's pretty much why. We already know that Meta's next headset is going to have camera tracking on the headset and controllers, meaning your controllers don't have to be in line of sight of the headset anymore. Plus, full RGB pass-through, face tracking, eye tracking, mini LED displays, and who knows what else. And according to a few sources, the Cambria is already in production right now, gearing up for an official launch sometime this year, likely at Connect, possibly earlier. But there's something really interesting here. Recently, Sadly It's Bradley made this render of what looked like a Cambria headset, based off of a leaked picture he had seen of the headset. However, I've also seen pictures of something that looked like a Cambria, and for similar reasons, there's no way I could ever leak it without someone getting fired, and I really don't want them to get fired. But the iteration that I saw looks slightly different, mainly the camera arrangement, and between Bradley and I cross-checking notes, we may be looking at Cambria 1 and Cambria 2, essentially. The headset likely already in production and sent to developers, which they've already been sent to developers, being the one that I saw, only having one middle camera. And a big reason why I'm so excited for Cambria, besides just better VR, is purely mixed reality. After using the Vario XR3's mixed reality and getting my mind blown, I just can't wait to see the gaming and productivity and entertainment possibilities when virtual reality and physical reality come together seamlessly. And it's not just me, the whole industry is pushing for mixed reality. Vario, of course, as we know it, the Lynx R1, Apple's inevitable headset that may be coming really soon actually, more on that in a bit, and of course, the Quest and the Cambria. MR is all the rage, and it's for good reason. And there's also lots of really interesting information regarding an iteration of the older super sampling mechanical actuator from a few years back. Created during older Oculus headset research, this all could explain Meta's human eye resolution prototype that Mark Zuckerberg showed off, as Bradley also pointed out. Basically, the older system worked by wobbling around a display at incredibly high speeds, and through engineering magic, the effective viewed pixel per degree measurement doubles while blurring all the lines in between. This super fast mechanical oscillation doesn't make any sense in any consumer product for many reasons, but this super resolution technology, TREX, brings this capability into a solid state form, or in other words, with no moving parts. And this is experimental tech, but the crazy part is that the Quest OS rendering pipeline is littered all over the place with references to exactly this. And this means that there's something out there from Meta right now that will likely be released at some point that has a perceived pixel per degree measurement of up to or more than 4 times the Quest 2's current pixel per degree, increasing the perceived resolution by orders of magnitudes. Put extremely basically, VR is about to start looking significantly better and more realistic, and right now everything's pointing to the Cambria. But But enough with the crazy hype for Cambria. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. These are still just leaks, and until a product is launched and in our hands, we really don't know anything. But that doesn't stop my excited VR technology side from getting pumped, especially whenever I see a few pictures of things. But back to Earth and the headsets that we have now. The Quest 2 is actually just about to get a couple decent updates, but there's one big thing I'm excited about. We know there are massive Quest 2 changes coming in May, like a new recording package, but Meta is still working on some short-term updates and quality of life improvements. V39 is officially here, and with it comes some added improvements for anyone who likes to work or multitask inside of VR. Also, a brand new studio home environment, and adding expanded support for share to headset. First off, Quest 2 users can now have up to 3 total side-by-side windows open on their device simultaneously. Some additional UI improvements make it easier to switch between multiple windows, and general multitasking improvements allow use of this feature by default without the need to manually activate it. Meta has been careful to note that this won't be immediately noticeable, as they plan on, quote, rolling it out over time to ensure the best possible experience for all Quest users, end quote. So don't expect your Quest to update in the next 10 minutes. Next up, Mountain Majesty, the new home environment, can be viewed in V39's new virtual workspace. And finally, some minor feed redesigns that make it easier to manage notifications in the Oculus mobile app. All of these small updates together make me think that Meta is planning for a huge update sometime in the near future to add a bunch of additional social features, since they really haven't made a whole lot of progress on that side of things since announcing their plans to expand on it back in October. I mean, you see some small updates like node support from V38, but nothing super significant in that regard. And with that out of the way, there could be something huge dropping from Meta for the Quest 2 or with other vendors for the Quest 2 and their future headsets. Software engineer It's Caitlin03 has reportedly found code in some Oculus PC drivers to suggest that Meta may be experimenting with a USB 3.0 Wi-Fi dongle, a feature that would effectively fix most, if not all, of the Quest 2's wireless connectivity issues. The main problem with Quest 2 PC VR support currently that isn't wired is that AirLink or virtual desktop isn't always super stable, and performance can vary wildly, all depending on how close your router is to your headset, what kind of router you have, how many people are on your Wi-Fi. There are just so many factors. And Wi-Fi signals degrade heavily when passing through objects like furniture or walls, not good for VR. So using a Wi-Fi ready dongle effectively gets around all of these problems and maybe will help Meta support more PC VR applications, something that they've pretty much all but dropped. It's relatively likely that airbridge as a physical unit, or at the very least support for similar hardware as an accessory, may be on its way. We've actually already heard this before from John Carmack, and honestly, I'd more than welcome it. And I'll keep you updated if I see this or hear any more on airbridge in the future. But now it's time for a meme break! And now, back to the news. Finally, we get to talk about Apple and their upcoming XR device, looking likely to compete directly head-to-head with Cambria, like I said. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says Apple is getting closer to the launch of their AR or VR headset. Well, surprise. Mark Gurman has a knack for this sort of thing too, spoiling and predicting Apple launches and announcements for years now with an 86.4% accuracy, and it looks like there's an impending 2022 announcement, largely based on the recent beta versions of iOS 16, containing tons of references to a new operating system simply named Reality OS. I mean, come on, what else could Reality OS really be for? And before this is chalked up to be nothing, the last time this many iOS related leaks referenced something in the code, the Apple Watch was announced 4 months later. We're at that level of leakage, maybe even more, and it's about time. Apple has spent the past few years poaching loads of crazy VR talent in the space, keeping really quiet, and I don't think it's all that crazy to think that we may have an announcement for Apple's new headset sometime this year. Just to sum up real quick, all the leaks point to a supposed M1 style chip, 8K displays, color pass-through, and no controllers. Well, I guess we'll just have to see. So we all remember Pico, the creator of the Pico Neo 3, China's direct competition or stand-in, I guess, to the Quest 2, rocking nearly the exact same hardware as the Quest 2 for a very similar price. Well, they've got a big announcement coming this week, and I've heard around the mill that Pico will be officially announcing the Pico Neo 3 or a similar newer headset to be launching globally to consumers at a really competitive price to the Quest 2. We're talking about the very first affordable alternative to the Quest, likely containing the same Qualcomm XR2 processor, similar resolution, size, PCVR compatibility, everything. And maybe Pico even has something new up their sleeves. I have heard from a few developers that Pico has been looking to populate their store with as many quality games from Western developers as possible, so this may be exactly what for. They're more than likely gearing up for their Western launch, finally. And I'm still not sure if ByteDance is much better than Meta, but competition is competition, and we'll just have to see where this leads and what this announcement is for in just a couple days. I know the metaverse hype needs to go away, but look, it kind of isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and in particular, HTC seems to be doubling down on its efforts to invest in and expand on the Viveverse, its metaverse platform. Specifically, HTC is looking to implement a multitude of interoperable features from what they're calling Vive wallets and Vive bytes, essentially digital asset and crypto wallets and a digital marketplace for purchasing NFTs. It supposedly runs off the Ethereum and Polygon blockchains, so according to HTC, this will let you keep track of every digital purchase you make and be able to use any currency from any device. And honestly, that doesn't sound too bad at all. Just the whole verse thing is getting old. In some less recent news from HTC, but positive, they just rolled out a pretty big update to the Vive Focus 3 at the end of March, adding some seriously cool features to the device like full PCVR hand tracking with OpenXR and OpenVR skeleton input, adding some finger pitching features to their controllers, and some major improvements to the tracking quality for the Vive wrist tracker. The update also adds some quality of life features, including improved USB streaming performance and a higher bitrate for Wi-Fi 6E and USB streaming. And that reminds me, I still need to make that Focus 3 review video. Maybe with this update soon is a really good time. It still was my favorite standalone headset I've used yet, but you know, it's expensive. This week, I actually have a question of the week for you. Have you ever experienced any sort of dissociation or depersonalization with reality after being in virtual reality? A recent study from the journal Computers in Human Behavior found that VR users experienced minor, albeit not clinically significant levels of depersonalization and derealization. These psychological phenomena apparently manifest in different ways from individual to individual, but largely consist of general dissociative symptoms and alienation experiences. I know I've had my fair share of identity ideas with my avatar, and even dreams where VR felt extremely real, or I was in VR in the dream again and I had no idea what was going on whenever I woke up. So has anything like this ever happened to you? Just curious, and I found it really interesting. And that's question of the week. Make sure to leave your own down below, and I may just answer yours next. Come check out my Discord server because there's cool stuff happening in there all the time. And thank you to my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.